They told you the Templars were heretics, that they worshipped a head, that they spat on the cross, that their downfall was swift, just, and deserved. But what if none of that was true? What if the real reason they were destroyed wasn't sin, but knowledge, not what they believe, but what they found? Not heresy, but truth. Buried for centuries, erased by fire, steel, and silence. Not because they failed, but because they succeeded. Because they uncovered something so dangerous, so destabilizing that kings and popes united in fear, to make sure no one ever saw it again. But urgency can wait. Let your breath match the sway of candlelight. Let the sound of distant hooves fade into mist. The truth has waited 700 years. What's a few more minutes? You're not here to rush. You're here to listen, to wonder, to follow the footprints others buried in ash. The Order of the Knights Templar was born in the aftermath of the First Crusade, baptized in blood and bound by vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They were supposed to protect pilgrims, to defend the Holy Land, to serve Christ and obey Rome. But the moment they stepped beneath the foundations of Solomon's temple, something changed. They began as 9 men. They became the most powerful military and financial force in Europe. They built fortresses across continents. They created a banking system centuries ahead of its time. They whispered across borders in a language of symbols, silence, and oaths. And then, they were erased. Mass arrests, confessions under torture, burnings at the stake, and a papal decree that disbanded them forever. But history doesn't just record what happened. It records what someone wanted you to believe happened. And when a story is told by the victors, it's rarely the full story. Tonight, we're going to dig beneath that story. We'll trace the paper trail they tried to burn, follow the ships that vanished into fog. We'll listen to the rumors too persistent to die and examine the symbols carved in stone long after the order fell. Because the Templars may be gone, but the truth they carried, that never burned. Before we venture further into the shadows, take a moment to subscribe so you never miss a secret that history has tried to forget. It began with whispers, not the kind that echo through royal courts or across battlefields, but quieter ones scratched onto parchment passed hand to hand, sealed with wax and fear. On the night before Friday the 13th in October of 1307, the gears of something enormous began to turn. In near-perfect synchronization, hundreds of knights across France were taken from their beds and cells, arrested not as men, but as carriers of something Rome no longer trusted. You've probably heard the superstition Friday the 13th, a day of bad luck, a cultural footnote. But its origin isn't just folklore, it's a shadow cast by that morning, when King Philip IV of France moved against the Knights Templar. This wasn't a crackdown on rebellion nor a reaction to uprising. The Templars had shown no sign of open defiance. What Philip launched was a surgical strike executed with the precision of someone holding not only a sword, but secrets. Too many secrets. At the time, the Templars weren't just knights.